knowing and experiencing how difficult it is to be fat.
Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Katie, and for those of you who don't know me, I used to weigh 360 pounds, then I've lost 180 pounds and kept it off for years now. And on this channel we will discuss weight loss, weight maintenance, nonsense I see online about fat acceptance and body positivity, my experiences with all of that, and well, anything else I feel like talking about. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, and let's get into today's video. So today I found a TikTok from our new friend to the channel, Victoria, or she goes by on TikTok, FatFabFeminist, and well, she's got an opinion on former fat people. So being a former fat person myself, I figure we could watch this together and I'll give you my reaction along the way.
The thing about former fats that I will never understand.
Okay, so we're going to take an entire group of individuals and label them under one label. That's always off to a great start.
Is how you can exist in a fat body, move through the world in a fat body, knowing and experiencing how difficult it is to be fat and how cruel the world is to fat people.
Okay, so I will agree with her that it was very difficult for me to be fat. At 360 pounds, I could no longer tie my own shoes. I was having trouble walking properly. I couldn't breathe properly. I was out of breath getting the mail. I was having trouble fitting in my own car. So yeah, all of those things definitely made my life very, very difficult. And as far as how cruel the world can be, this is where she and I are going to definitely have different opinions and perhaps maybe even different experiences. I certainly never felt like the world was cruel to me at that point, but simply because no one could be more cruel than I was being to myself with what I was doing. My behaviors that had allowed me to get to 360 pounds. But we do all have our own experiences and opinions, so let's see what else she has to say.
And instead of when you lose weight and you are no longer feeling the effects of fat phobia, for me, if I had ever lost weight and like people started treating me better and like I no longer was experiencing fat phobia, it would infuriate me on behalf of my old self, you know?
Okay, so I just want to point out that there were a lot of suppositions in her idea right there, that if she had lost the weight and people started doing this and this happened, that's a lot of assumptions and suppositions that all of those things would fall into place when she hasn't experienced that, to my knowledge. So in my mind, that kind of very much reminds me of the things I used to tell myself before I became a parent. Things like, well, my kid would never, or I would always. And I must say, I had to eat a lot of my words of what I thought that experience would be until I went through it. And that's kind of what that reminds me of, that until you've gone through that experience, you don't know what you actually will experience and how you will react to it and how you'll grow and change as a person alongside of that experience. So I can understand that she has this frame of mind right now, but she hasn't gone through the experience of losing weight, and she hasn't gone through any of the other things that would have happened because of that. So I'm genuinely curious, if she were to lose weight, if that would still be her attitude or her opinion, or if she might have a change of heart if she had a different experience along the way.
What I mean, like, I cannot understand how you, in contrast, are in that position, and rather than being upset at the way the world treated you, you are now contributing to the cruelty that you experienced in this past version of your body. Like,
wow, okay, so she said a lot there, and well, I certainly cannot speak to everyone's experience here. I can tell you from my experience, I really didn't notice that much of a difference in the way that people treated me before, during, or after. And maybe that just has something to do with where I live. I don't know. I'm from Northeast Ohio, and we're a part of the Midwest. And there's a stereotype that people from the Midwest typically are pretty nice. And my experience of having lived here my entire life, I generally find that to be pretty accurate. Most people are pretty kind. Most people are friendly. Most people are going to smile and say hello. Most people are going to hold doors for you. And that's just something we all do for each other across the board. So maybe that does have something to do with where I live. But I really didn't notice a huge difference in the way that the vast majority of people treated me. Now, I will say there were a couple of exceptions and definitely a couple of differences in how people will treat me. And the first one is now I get a lot more attention from men. Previously, I felt fairly invisible, and now I do get hit on quite frequently. But both times I've been married and I am not looking for any of that attention. So even if there is a difference, it's not necessarily good attention for me because I'm not looking for that. Now, there was one strange difference that I did notice. Now, pretty much my entire career, I have had front-facing customer service jobs, meaning I am interacting with customers face-to-face. We can see each other, we can speak and hear each other, and I can see their facial expressions, their body language, everything. One difference that I definitely did pick up on. Now, from my heaviest at 360 pounds to about 240 pounds, and that was about 6 years, we'll say, I was a manager for McDonald's. I never really had anyone question my authority, and by authority as a restaurant manager, as far as policies, food safety, things of that nature, the things I was literally in charge of. I never really had anyone question me on that, and I would have unruly customers, that was for sure. But, once I'd explained the policy or what the procedures were, or, that I just wasn't going to serve them, I didn't really have people question my authority as far as my decisions. And then once I had lost all of the weight, or had even gotten a little bit smaller than this for a time, I had a different job. And that job, I was working third shift at a gas station. And that's where I definitely noticed the difference in the attention I was getting from males, for sure, at that point. But the other curious thing was, those very same men that were trying to hit on me or somehow get me to give them my attention, they often would try to undermine and question my authority, sometimes over the silliest things. And I mean, I didn't really have a whole lot of authority at working at a gas station, but simple things like I cannot leave the building. Things like I was locked inside and I cannot open the door for anybody. And they would try to harass me to get me to open the door. Or they would argue with me about the alcohol sales, and that's not even on me. That's the state who sets the law, and I'm not trying to break any laws. Or like they didn't have an ID, and they would try to argue with me on my authority in a way that I really hadn't experienced before. And maybe it was the difference in job, I'm not really sure. But I must say, having been a manager at McDonald's, I had worked many an overnight shift and had to deal with the very same crowd of people. Honey, you can't jump up on here. You're shaking the whole thing. My kitty just jumped up and shook my camera. My goodness. But I can say that as a manager at McDonald's, I worked third shift a lot, and often dealt with the same crowd, and in some cases, even the same customers. And the treatment was vastly different between that job and the other. So I can't say for certain that difference was because of my weight, but I can say it was strange, and I do have a feeling it may have been because of my weight.
That to me is like something I just like will never understand. And it's like, I don't know if it means that like you hated the past version of yourself, or if you still hate yourself.
Oh, wow. Okay. So again, I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself here. And I can confidently say I have never hated any version of myself whatsoever. Never. Never hated my past self, never hated my current self. And it's all strange because it's all me, all of it. No matter what my weight was, it's still me. And I've never hated myself at all. So again, I can't speak for other people. That's a really big assumption, especially for people that you don't know in real life, or you maybe only know through a social media account. That is a very, very big assumption to be putting those loaded words behind that. I have never hated myself, and dare I say that the version of me, the 360-pound version of me who decided that I was worth putting in the time and effort and work in to lose all of the weight and maintain that, I think that is a courageous act of self-love. That took a tremendous amount of self-love. That did not come from a place of hatred whatsoever. It came from a place of, I really enjoy my life and I'd like more of it, please. And it might be easier to walk around if I'm not so heavy. That's where that came from for me. So that's a really big and very weird assumption that she just made about former fats, all of us that she lumped together in one group.
Or if just like you are not a good person and you have always been waiting for this opportunity to exercise your like dominance and like casual cruelty on others.
Oh wow. Yeah, okay, there's a lot there too. So first, we all hate ourselves as former fat people, or former fat people that at least now speak out against body positivity. We all hate ourselves. We are all terrible people and can't wait to exert our dominance over others. I mean, wow, that is a swing and a miss on strike 3 right there. Swing and a miss on all 3 of those. I mean, at the end of the day, I definitely don't hate myself. Good person, I think obviously that's always going to be subjective, that's for sure. But I definitely can say I really do try to treat people how I would like to be treated. That's for sure. And I think that's all you can ever ask of somebody. And I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to be cruel to somebody, like ever. I'm really not. I don't even like killing spiders. I will in my house, but I don't even like killing spiders. Like this has taken a turn. This has taken a turn with the assumptions that she is making because she doesn't like what we have to say. She doesn't like former fat people who now have a platform or now use their social media to speak out against body positivity and fat acceptance. And instead of understanding that maybe there is valid criticism to hear in this, I understand it's the internet and I understand that you're going to hear everything and often without nuance. I understand that. But not everyone who is speaking up or not everyone who has gone through these experiences is anywhere close to what she is describing. And it's clear by her lack of nuance and lumping everybody into one group in this matter that she doesn't really want to understand. She just wants to label us as bad people and tell us we can't wait to exert our dominance. Like, I don't even know what that actually even means, honestly. I've got to be honest. It's so bizarre that I just don't understand what that means. Let me know if you know what that means down below because I'm confused. But if we're going to lump former fat people all together, we're all individuals. There's a whole huge diverse group of individuals that she is now just lumping together and making all of these assumptions about.
I don't really know what it means, but it will never not disappoint me to see former fat people being some of the most fatphobic. That is genuinely very disappointing to me.
So there you have it. She did say she doesn't really know what it means, but yet she will make assumptions about a large and diverse group of individuals. Call us all former fats, assume our motivations, assume our experiences without having gone through that experience herself, and assume that we're just all waiting to assert our dominance over other fat people, I guess. When in reality, those of us who have lost weight and now make content against body positivity or fat acceptance know because we have experienced it. I have experienced what it was like to be in the body positivity community, to try to lose weight, and their reaction to that. They blocked me, they kicked me out, and they told me they didn't want to hear any part of it. So the only way that I could have stayed in that community would have been to not participate in weight loss anymore. Where I understand we all have our own experiences when it comes to this. And I can only ever talk from my own experience. And I will not make assumptions on what others are doing, especially the motivations behind why they're doing it. But Victoria will. She will make assumptions about why people are losing weight. She will make assumptions about their motivations for speaking out against body positivity or fat acceptance without having gone through that experience herself. But having eaten a lot of words in my day, once I've gone through the experience myself, I wish her all the best. And that is where we will end things today. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye. Oh my goodness. This baby has been waiting for me to finish so she can come say hello. Oh my goodness, say hello, Cookie. Yes, she can say hello.